Los Angeles, California, September 12, 1990. The Great Western Forum glowed with the particular magic that only exists when extraordinary talent shares a stage with genuine familial connection. The occasion was the final night of Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation World Tour, a groundbreaking production that had firmly established her as a formidable artistic force in her own right, stepping definitively out of the long shadow cast by her famous brothers, particularly Michael. The tour had shattered attendance records, garnered universal critical acclaim, and firmly positioned Janet not merely as Michael's little sister, but as a visionary performer with her own distinctive voice and vision. Tonight's sold-out performance carried special significance. Throughout the tour's extensive run, rumors had circulated that Michael might make a surprise appearance at the Los Angeles conclusion, whispers that gained credibility when several Jackson family members were spotted entering the venue through a private entrance. These murmurs had reached a fever pitch when an additional microphone had been placed center stage during sound check, a detail immediately reported by eagle-eyed stagehands to waiting entertainment journalists. For most of the concert, the performance proceeded according to the meticulously choreographed production that had defined the tour, Janet delivering the seamless integration of dance and vocal performance that had become her hallmark, supported by a company of elite dancers executing the militaristic precision of the Rhythm Nation aesthetic. The audience, a mix of devoted fans, industry insiders, and celebrities, responded with the particular energy of a Los Angeles crowd. Knowledgeable, appreciative, but also slightly reserved, maintaining the cool sophistication expected of those accustomed to spectacular entertainment. This measured atmosphere shifted dramatically when, after a brief costume change following Escapade, Janet returned to the stage in an outfit that deviated from the established visual narrative of the show, a simple black pants and white shirt combination reminiscent of her brother's Billie Jean ensemble. The lighting changed subtly, and the band shifted into an extended instrumental introduction that wasn't part of the standard set list. "So," Janet said, her voice carrying a playfulness that contrasted with the carefully maintained persona of the tour. "I've been hearing the same rumors you all have." The audience responded with immediate electricity, the mere implication that the whispers might be true creating a surge of anticipation that physically altered the energy in the arena. "I don't know," Janet continued, her smile revealing both genuine affection and a touch of sisterly mischief. "He's pretty shy, and he's very busy. But then again, he never could resist a challenge." She paused, allowing the statement to hover in the air like a dare. "And he definitely never could resist his little sister calling him out in public." The audience erupted, understanding that this playful provocation confirmed what they had hoped. Michael was indeed in the building. What they couldn't have anticipated was the nature of what was about to unfold. Rather than a carefully choreographed duet or planned collaboration, they were about to witness something far more rare. An unscripted moment of genuine familial connection between two of the most controlled and protected performers in the world. Janet turned toward the side of the stage, hand on hip in a gesture of mock impatience. "Come on, Michael," she called. "Don't make me come find you." For several seconds, nothing happened. The audience's anticipation built to an almost unbearable intensity. A collective breath held throughout the massive arena. Then, from stage left, a figure emerged from the shadows. Michael Jackson, dressed in a simple black shirt and pants that complemented Janet's outfit, walked toward his sister with the distinctive, deliberate grace that characterized all his movements. The audience's reaction was seismic, a wall of sound that seemed to physically press against the stage. Michael reached Janet, and the siblings shared a brief, genuine embrace that contrasted with their typically reserved public personas. As they separated, Janet spoke again, this time directly to Michael but with her microphone ensuring the audience remained part of the exchange. "I was just telling them how you never could back down from a challenge," she said, the teasing affection in her voice revealing the private dynamic beneath their public images. Michael's response was quiet, his characteristic soft-spoken manner requiring the audience to quiet themselves to hear him. "Depends on the challenge," he said, a slight smile playing at the corners of his mouth. Janet's answering smile contained both warmth and the unmistakable glint of sibling provocation. "I was thinking," she said, "maybe we show them what Sunday afternoons used to look like in the Jackson house. The statement created a ripple of intrigue through the audience. While the family's professional performances and recording careers had been exhaustively documented, the private creative moments among the siblings remained largely the stuff of speculation and myth. Michael's expression shifted, a slight widening of the eyes, a barely perceptible tilt of the head that those familiar with his mannerisms would recognize as surprise. This wasn't planned. This wasn't part of a script or a carefully constructed public narrative. This was a genuine challenge, issued in real time before 20,000 witnesses. "Sunday afternoons?" he asked, his voice carrying a note of nostalgic recognition. Janet nodded, her smile now infused with genuine reminiscence. "Kitchen table. Mom cooking. You and me and whoever else was around." She turned slightly to address the audience. "We used to have these freestyle sessions," she explained. "Just rhythm and whatever came into our heads. No choreography, no planning. Just feeling it." She turned back to Michael. "Think you still got it?" The question, playful but with an edge of real challenge, hung in the air between them. Michael's response wasn't verbal. Instead, he made a subtle gesture to the band's musical director, who immediately recognized the significance of the moment unfolding on stage. The music shifted, the polished production tracks giving way to a stripped-down beat, minimal instrumentation providing a bare framework against which the siblings' creativity could emerge. What happened next was described by MTV VJ Downtown Julie Brown, who was present that night, as the most genuine, unfiltered glimpse into the actual relationship between these two extraordinarily protected people that any of us had ever witnessed. It was like being invited into their childhood home for 5 minutes, if that home had happened to contain two of the greatest performers who ever lived. The freestyle began simply, Janet leading with a basic rhythm, her movements drawing on the street dance foundations that had preceded the more formal choreography of her professional career. Michael observed for several counts, his stillness containing such focused attention that it became its own form of movement. Then, with a seamless integration that suggested years of shared creative development, he joined the exchange. Unlike the meticulously planned performances for which he was known, this Michael moved with a looser, more playful energy. His technical precision still evident but now infused with the spontaneous quality of pure creative expression. The siblings established a rhythm of exchange. Janet would introduce a movement phrase, Michael would respond with a variation or elaboration, then offer a new element for Janet to develop. There was a conversational quality to their interaction, a visual representation of the particular shorthand that exists between siblings who have grown up not just in the same household but in the same professional universe. The audience watched in a state approaching reverence, aware that they were witnessing something beyond the usual parameters of concert performance. A genuine creative exchange between two artists who shared not just extraordinary talent, but the unique bond of family. As the freestyle evolved, something remarkable began to happen. The technical brilliance that both Janet and Michael were known for gave way to something more vulnerable, more authentic. Their movements became less about display and more about communication. Not with the audience but with each other. A physical dialogue that contained layers of shared history, mutual understanding, and genuine affection. Janet introduced a series of movements that those familiar with the Jackson family history recognized as references to their shared childhood performances, subtle callbacks to Jackson 5 choreography, to early television appearances, to the foundation upon which both their careers had been built. Michael's response visibly shifted from performance mode to genuine emotional reaction. His movements maintained their characteristic precision but took on a quality of reflection, of acknowledgement, of honoring the journey that had brought them both to this stage. It was during this segment that the first tears were observed in the audience. Not the superficial emotion of fans in the presence of celebrity, but the more profound recognition of witnessing authentic human connection expressed through art of the highest caliber. If the story moves you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more moments that define the king of pop's extraordinary journey. The freestyle reached its emotional peak when Janet, in a gesture both simple and profound, recreated a specific sequence from the Jackson 5's early television performances, movements that a young Michael had originated when he was not much older than Janet had been when she first studied her brother's routines. The reference was unmistakable to anyone familiar with the family's history, but what made it extraordinary was the pure sibling love evident in the execution. Not imitation but homage, a sister acknowledging the path her brother had created that had made her own journey possible. Michael's response to this moment was what transformed the exchange from remarkable to transcendent. He stopped dancing entirely, his stillness creating a dramatic contrast to the continuous movement that had characterized the freestyle until that point. For 3 full beats, he simply looked at Janet, all performance persona stripped away, leaving only the unguarded emotion of a brother profoundly moved by his sister's gesture of acknowledgement. Then, with a deliberate quality that suggested deep intentionality rather than choreographed planning, Michael began a sequence that those close to the family immediately recognized. Movements from Janet's earliest solo performances, from the television appearances where she had first begun to establish her individual artistic identity separate from her famous siblings. It wasn't exact replication. Michael's physicality and movement vocabulary naturally transformed the original material, but the reference was clear and deliberate. This wasn't just a brother acknowledging his sister's gesture. This was one iconic artist paying public tribute to another's distinctive contributions and individual journey. The moment created a perfect circle of recognition. Janet honoring Michael's influence and pioneering work, Michael honoring Janet's emergence from that shadow to create her own singular artistic identity. The audience, witnessing this authentic exchange of professional and personal acknowledgement between siblings at the absolute pinnacle of their art form, responded with an emotional intensity that transcended ordinary performance reactions. Throughout the arena, people were openly weeping, not from the manufactured sentimentality that sometimes characterizes entertainment, but from the genuine human connection being expressed on stage through the particular language of movement these 2 artists had spent their lives refining. The freestyle concluded not with a dramatic flourish or spectacular technical display, but with a simple moment of siblinghood. Janet and Michael facing each other, hands clasped between them, foreheads briefly touching in a gesture of intimate connection rarely witnessed in their carefully managed public personas. What passed between them remained private, one of the few exchanges in their extraordinarily public lives that belonged only to them. But those who observed them emerging from that conversation noted a quality rarely captured in official documentation of either artist: the simple, unguarded contentment of family connection amid the complex machinery of global fame. In the days and weeks that followed, the forum freestyle became a topic of reverent discussion throughout the entertainment industry. Though no official recording was released, both Janet and Michael being notoriously protective of controlling their public image, the moment achieved a near-mythical status among those lucky enough to have witnessed it. Music journalists struggled to find language adequate to describe not just the technical brilliance of the exchange but its emotional authenticity, the rare alignment of extraordinary artistic skill with genuine human connection. Janet, in one of her few public comments about the evening, offered perhaps the most revealing perspective during a Rolling Stone interview months later. When asked about the apparently spontaneous nature of the freestyle, she smiled with uncharacteristic openness. "Some things you can't rehearse," she said simply. "Some things you can only feel, and trust that the other person will feel it with you. That night, we just felt it together, the way we used to before all of this." She gestured vaguely, indicating the massive apparatus of fame that surrounded them both, "became who we were to the world." Michael, characteristically more reserved in his public statements, made only a brief reference to the event during a Japanese television interview later that year. "Janet has always had her own light," he said softly, his expression thoughtful. "That night, she reminded everyone, including me, how brightly it shines." If you've been moved by this glimpse into a rare moment of genuine connection between 2 legendary artists who also happen to be brother and sister, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Together, we keep alive the memory of these special instances when the public personas fall away to reveal the authentic human relationships beneath. Perhaps the true significance of that September night in 1990 lay not in the spectacular display of talent, though that was certainly present in abundance, but in the reminder of something more fundamental. That beneath the iconic performances, beneath the global fame and carefully constructed public images, existed the simple, profound bond of family. In an industry often characterized by artifice and calculated presentation, Janet and Michael's freestyle offered a rare moment of unfiltered truth. a window into the genuine connection that had helped sustain them both through the extraordinary pressures and privileges of their unprecedented careers. Years later, after Michael's untimely passing, Janet would occasionally reference that night at the Forum during interviews about her brother's legacy. People always ask about his talent, his innovation, his impact on entertainment, she said during a memorial special. And all of that is real and important. But what I remember most is my brother, the person behind all of that, the one who knew me before either of us was anything to the rest of the world. That's who I danced with that night in Los Angeles. Not the king of pop, just Michael, my brother. In that simple statement lies perhaps the most profound truth about what transpired on the Forum stage. For 5 extraordinary minutes, 20,000 people weren't watching Janet Jackson, the pop star, and Michael Jackson, the global icon. They were witnessing Janet and Michael, sister and brother, communicating through the artistic language they had developed together since childhood. A language of movement and music that expressed what words alone could never fully capture about their shared journey, their individual paths, and the enduring connection that linked them through all of it. And in witnessing that authentic connection, the audience experienced something increasingly rare in our mediated culture. A genuine human moment, unfiltered by the machinery of fame, expressed through art of the highest caliber, reminding us all of the universal experiences that connect us beneath the surface differences of our lives. Family, recognition, acknowledgement, love. The freestyle at the Forum endures in cultural memory not just as a spectacular display of talent, but as a testament to the power of these fundamental human connections, even, or perhaps especially, when expressed by two people whose extraordinary lives made such authentic moments so difficult to access and preserve.